By the end of 1864, the Pattersons were in the great shoe manufacturing city of Lynn, Massachusetts. He looking to find a new field for his dental practice, she still looking to find the way to health. The next year, 1865, in the fall, the couple rented a second-floor apartment on Paradise Road in Swampscott, bordering Lynn. Here, the many years of preparation were gathering to a head. In Swampscott, as winter came on, Mary Patterson attended a church, wrote poems for the local newspapers, an added source of income, chaired temperance society meetings when she was well enough, sometimes assisted in her husband's dental office. The evening of Thursday, February 1st, 1866, on an icy street corner in Lynn, Mary Patterson took a bad fall. Unconscious, she was carried to a home across the street. A physician diagnosed serious internal injuries, noting sharp pain in the head and neck. The next day, she was brought home in a sleigh and carried upstairs to her apartment, where she was placed on a cot in the kitchen, near the heat of the stove. The doctor said he could do nothing more for her. Worried friends stayed around the clock, fearing the worst. Her husband, away on one of his travels, was telegraphed to come home quickly. Friday and Saturday, she lay in critical condition. Every time she moved, there was severe pain. Sunday afternoon, she sought hope in the pages of her Bible.
On this day, something in its familiar words spoke to her afresh. Then saith he to the sick of the palsy, Arise. And he arose.
In a moment of profound spiritual insight, she announced she would get to her feet and walk.
She immediately pushed herself, unaided, to the side of the bed, placed her feet on the floor, and walked to the side of the room and sat in a chair. Then she says, This is all through prayer. George Newhall.
Those who saw it were astonished. She herself could not explain it. How had this happened? Was this how Jesus and his disciples healed? Left on her own with almost no funds, she moved from place to place in and around Lynn. Resuming the name of her deceased first husband, she was once again known as Mary B. Glover. Through all this, she sought to relate her healing to spiritual laws of God, which were demonstrated to her through a string of healings. People suffering with consumption, pneumonia, diphtheria, cancer, bone disease, and others, all healed. In New Hampshire, Mrs. Glover's niece, Ellen Pillsbury, had suffered typhoid fever, only to be diagnosed with severe enteritis. For 2 weeks, the girl's stomach was so sore people tiptoed around her bed because their every footstep caused her pain. Falling into a delirium, Ellen didn't even know those around her. The doctor's prognosis was terminal.
When we found Ellen did not have a chance to live, we wrote Mary about it, and she came to us at once. We went to Ellen's room, and Mary sat beside her bed. In a short time, she looked up and said, I'm glad to see you, Auntie. Mary soon told her to rise and walk. Well, we were horrified at this. She rose, however, and walked across the room. Martha Rand Baker.
She told her to stamp her foot strongly upon the floor, and she did so without suffering from it. The next day she was dressed and went down to the table, and the fourth day went a journey of about 100 miles in the cars. Elizabeth Baker.
On a beach near Lynn, 7-year-old George Norton, his feet deformed since birth, lay on pillows where his mother had placed him while she hitched the horse and went for water. Young George had never walked on those club feet, but when his mother returned, he was not on the pillows. Down by the water's edge, Mrs. Norton saw her boy walking haltingly, hand in hand, with a woman she had never seen before. It was Mrs. Glover. From that moment, the boy's feet straightened and gained strength rapidly. He grew up leading a normal life, going on to become an engineer.